is one of the most respected figures in French cinema, a performer whose career spans more than 5 decades, and whose presence on screen has come to symbolize restraint, emotional intelligence, and an almost documentary-like authenticity. To remember her is to trace not just a filmography, but a changing landscape of French storytelling itself, from the new wave's aftermath to contemporary intimate dramas that prioritize character over spectacle. Born in Mainville, France, in 1948, Nathalie Baye did not arrive in cinema through privilege or expectation, but through disciplined training and gradual accumulation of craft. She studied at the Conservatoire National Supérieur d'Art Dramatique in Paris, an institution that has shaped many of France's most serious actors. Early in her career, she worked as an assistant to director Sidney Lumet in the United States, an experience that exposed her to a very different filmmaking rhythm, more industrial, more structured than the French auteur tradition she would soon become associated with. Her breakthrough came in the 1970s, a decade when French cinema was still reverberating with the influence of the new wave. Directors were experimenting with realism, fragmentation, and emotional understatement. Baye fit into this world not by dominating it, but by adapting to it with remarkable flexibility. She became known for her ability to disappear into roles rather than impose herself upon them. There is a quiet precision in her acting style, a glance held a fraction too long, a pause that suggests inner conflict, a sentence delivered without theatrical excess. One of the defining aspects of Baye's career is her collaboration with major French auteurs. She worked with François Truffaut, appearing in Day for Night, La Nuit Américaine, a film that remains one of the most beloved meditations on filmmaking itself. In that ensemble, Baye plays a script supervisor navigating the emotional and logistical chaos of a film set, and her performance embodies the grounding force of professionalism amid artistic instability. It is a role that reflects her broader screen identity, the stabilizer, the observer, the emotional anchor. Her collaborations with Bertrand Tavernier, Claude Sautet, and Jean-Luc Godard further demonstrate her adaptability. Unlike some actors who become strongly identified with a single cinematic style, Baye has always moved fluidly between tones, romantic drama, social realism, psychological portraiture. This versatility is not the result of chameleon-like transformation alone, but of a consistent internal discipline. She always seems to be thinking within the character, rather than performing above it. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Baye solidified her place in French cinema as a leading figure of mature, emotionally layered storytelling. She won multiple César Awards, France's highest film honor, including for her performances in La Balance and Le Retour de Martin Guerra. These roles often placed her in morally ambiguous situations, where clarity of judgment was less important than emotional truth. Baye excelled in such terrain. She does not force sympathy. She earns it gradually, through accumulated detail. What makes her work distinctive is her refusal to exaggerate emotional states. In a cinematic world that often rewards intensity, Baye's restraint becomes a form of power. She suggests interiority rather than displaying it openly. This subtlety is particularly effective in close-up cinematography, where her face becomes a landscape of barely perceptible shifts. Critics have often noted that she belongs to a tradition of French acting that values psychological realism over theatrical projection. Beyond film, Baye has also worked in theater, where her discipline and clarity of diction have been equally appreciated. Stage performance demands a different kind of energy, continuous, unedited, immediate, and her success in this medium further underscores her technical mastery. Yet she has always remained primarily associated with cinema, where the camera captures the smallest variations in expression. Another important dimension of her career is her ability to bridge generations of filmmakers. She has worked with both established masters and younger directors, remaining relevant without self-reinvention for its own sake. In the 2000s and 2010s, she appeared in films that engaged with contemporary social themes while maintaining the emotional intelligence that defined her earlier work. This continuity is rare in an industry often driven by reinvention and trend following. Her personal life, though often discussed in media, has remained secondary to her professional identity. She is the mother of actor Laura Smet, and her relationship with singer-songwriter Johnny Hallyday once placed her at the center of French celebrity culture. Yet Baye herself has consistently maintained a separation between public curiosity and artistic output. She has never relied on publicity as a substitute for craft, and this discretion has reinforced the seriousness with which her work is received. To remember Nathalie Baye today is also to reflect on a certain model of acting that may feel increasingly rare. In an era dominated by fast-paced production, digital effects, and heightened emotional expression, her style represents patience and depth. She belongs to a cinematic tradition that trusts the audience to notice nuance, to read silence, and to interpret contradiction. Her legacy is not defined by a single iconic role, but by consistency. Film after film, she has contributed to a body of work that values human complexity over narrative simplification. She often plays women who are not easily categorized, professionals, mothers, lovers, survivors, each rendered with an attention to inner life that resists cliché. In the broader history of French cinema, Baye stands as a bridge figure, connected to the post-New Wave generation, yet active in contemporary filmmaking, rooted in theatrical discipline, yet fully fluent in cinematic minimalism. Her career reflects a kind of artistic continuity that transcends stylistic shifts. Ultimately, remembering Nathalie Baye means acknowledging the quiet endurance of craft. She is not an actress of extremes, but of precision, not of spectacle, but of sustained attention. Her performances invite viewers to slow down, to observe, and to engage with emotion as something layered rather than immediate. In that sense, her contribution to cinema is not only in the roles she has played, but in the way she has shaped expectations of what acting can be, a disciplined exploration of human behavior, rendered with humility and intelligence. Her legacy endures not because it demands attention, but because it rewards it.